Tab. All right.
Hello,
Checking.
mic check, mic one. All right, we're on. Penitentiary games. Welcome back to Prison Yard TV. You guys can hear me, get a thumbs up. I see you, Big E. I see you in the comments already. Today I seen a video. Um, it was another YouTuber, prison genre, and he was talking about prison games, how people play prison games in prison. And I think I think he was in Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, California plays a lot of prison games, especially the convicts out of California. And so I wrote some things down, and it kind of reminded me a little bit about California prison gangs, the way he was talking, how they came up with all these gimmicks and games to cross you up, to get you more time. And I remember back in, I want to say 2015, maybe 2016, everyone kept telling me, bro, if you got a phone, don't let nobody know you got a cell phone because you're going to get told on. So, me being the slickster that I am, I thought, okay, I had a couple phones, but I always used to go to the wall phone and call my people on the wall phone at least once a week. That way, the COs, they see you on the wall phone, they don't suspect you of having a phone, right? So let me tell you something about people in prison. All you have is time on your hands to think, to manipulate, to think about your next con. There's a million and one, everyone's a con man in prison. Everyone's trying to get something for nothing, and everyone's trying to make some money. So, the first incident I had over a phone, and this been going on since cell phones has been in California. I don't know how long we've been getting cell phones in California, but it's been a long time. Anyways, this is how people manipulate you. This is how people cross the boundaries. They cross the line. And this is one incident. So let me tell you something. If you have a cell phone in prison and you let somebody use it, or if you don't have a cell phone and you borrow someone's cell phone in prison, you have to erase your conversation, your pictures, and the phone number you called. Because if you don't, it's almost guaranteed somebody is going to call your family members or your girl and try to get at them. Yes, it's very disrespectful, but it happens. This one incident. So I had let someone use my phone. As a matter of fact, let me back up a little bit. So I had my personal phone and then I had a community phone. And what I mean by that is I used to rent a phone out. I had one phone that I never let anybody use, and then I had a phone that I used to rent out for $100 a night. And you give me a green dot for $100, and you get it for from lockup time till breakfast time. That was the going rate in there. So I let somebody use rent out one of my phones, right? I get it back in the morning time. Then, of course, that day someone else comes and rents it out. It goes to two or three people during the week. Well, a cat that that I really knew for a long time since like '93, he comes back and he's like, "Hey, dog, man, someone tried to get at my girl. You the only one that has my girl's number." So I'm like, wait, hold up, homie. Wait, hold up 1 minute. That phone that you used, you should erase your information off that because as soon as you gave it back, I passed it on to somebody else. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is a community phone, homie. I rent this phone out. So 3 or 4 people already had that phone since I got it back after you had it. He was like, oh, that's messed up. No, bro, you're supposed to erase your information out of the phone when you give the phone back. But you don't want nobody to have no addresses, no phone numbers, no pictures of your family members or your loved ones in your phone. So this cat was adamant on someone trying to get at this girl. So I'm like, okay. So I try to track back how many people who I gave it to. And of course, I got a record of, but do I want to start a war over this person's group and this person's group that got at this bar? Because I found out who did it, right? And it was dude's wife. They tried to get out and they was sending her um let's just say non-appropriate pictures of themselves. And what cats do in prison, this is crazy to me. What cats do, if they trying to get at somebody and they sending pictures of themselves, they'll go in their cell and they'll work out. They'll do hella push-ups. They'll do hella sit-ups. Then they'll get their little sweat on. Then they'll take pictures of them with their little yolks on and send them and be like, "Oh, that was an accident. I didn't mean to send that to you." But it's a picture, and that plants a seed in a female's head. If you really don't have her, she might respond back to that picture. And that's what these cats do in prison. They manipulate the situation. So this situation I'm talking about, the person that I'm talking about that had the phone that left the information in it, he was a little bit older than me and he'd been around a long time. He had a life sentence. And he gave the phone back. He left his phone number, his girl's phone number in there, and the next person to ring the phone hollered at his girl and been hollering at her. They've been having conversation back and forth. Well, his girl told, I guess when the new person that was hollering at dude's girl got the girl mad, she done told her man, hey, someone was hollering at me and didn't she the picture wasn't in the phone no more. He erased the picture that he sent. Well, she didn't send old boy the picture of old boy, so he was confused. He was trying to figure it out. But they knew it wasn't me, right? So this is what happened. So old boy had his girl come up there. She came up there, I think, once or twice a month. Now, at the time, we're at Lancaster, level 4 yard, 270 design. Level 4 yards, there don't supposed to be anything to do with family, and you disrespect someone by getting at their girl, that crosses the line, right? So, old boy, he goes to the visiting room with his woman. His woman sees the individual in the visiting room with his woman and tells, oh boy, that's the guy right there. What happened next is dude played his cards right. He didn't get up in the visiting room and go confront dude in front of his woman. He waited till we came back. By this time, the individual that tried to get at his woman already had a phone. He had bought a phone. And mind you, on level 4 yards, cell phones was all the way up to $5,000 a phone. You could get an iPhone for $5,000. You could get a text, a flip phone for 2 bands, 1,500, 2 bands. But a touch screen, a regular touch screen phone, was like 3,500. So you can imagine how people treated their phones in prison. Phones were very expensive. That's why I had two. One I could rent out and make my money back, and the other one I wouldn't let nobody have. So dude came back. He did his little investigation. Just so happened that the guy that tried to get at his woman, he happened to be a Damu. The guy that used my phone and left his information in there, he happened to be a Crip. However, they wasn't both from LA. Only the Crip dude was from LA. The Damu dude was from I want to say Stockton, maybe Modesto. He was from a little town. He wasn't from LA. So they wasn't per se enemies on the street. These cats didn't know nothing about each other. So what the dude did was he found out old boy that got it, his woman had a phone, and he befriended him. He started asking him could he use his phone, and old boy stupidly let old boy use his phone. Now, mind you, When you disrespect someone's family member like that or his wife, and he got a life sentence, that's all he has is his wife. He's gonna do what he can to get back. And he manipulated dude and his whole crew up out that phone. It went back and forth for a while, but dude actually took his phone. Dude gave him the code to his phone to open it, and dude actually took his phone. It was a fight, couple fights over it, right? I don't think there was a stabbing over that one, but it was a fight over that. Now I'm gonna tell you something. This is a personal story of mine. I'm not gonna say his name. So when I was in Old Folsom Prison in 2000 and I want to say 2003, 2003, maybe 2004. Uh-oh, what's going on? We back on. So I was on a 10-month violation, 2003, 2004. I had a little homie from my neighborhood. I'm married at the time. I'm married to my wife at the time. I got a son. She comes up there every Saturday to see me. True story. This is a true story. This is how manipulation comes into effect. Now, mind you, this is someone that I've been knowing for years. I got a wife. She comes up on Saturdays. I also have this white girl that came up and see me on Sundays and brought the clavo, if you guys know what I mean. She used to come up there and bring whatever I needed her to bring. Well, this individual, I didn't. No one had a cell phone back then that I remember at Folsom. We used to use the wall phone. In Old Folsom, in one building, you got a little yard and a big yard. If you can't make it to the big yard, you could always go out to the little concrete yard that used to be the shoe back in the day. And there's four phones out there. So I go out there, call the white girl. If I couldn't make it, I would have a little homie call her and tell her to make sure she was coming up Sunday, see what time she was coming, so I'd be ready. The little homie decided to dirty Mac me. And what I mean by dirty Mac, he called her up on his own and told her, I'm just gonna put a name out there. This is fictional name. So let's just say Kevin is the little homie and Sarah is my mistress coming up there on Sundays bringing me what I need her to bring me. So Kevin goes out to the little yard and he calls Sarah. He tells Sarah, don't you know Dog's married? She's like, yeah, I know Dog's married. I've been messing with him for 10 years. So he was like, why would you be with a married dude? His wife comes up here every week on Saturday. He tried to dirty Mac me. But in the midst of him trying to dirty Mac me, he's trying to get at her. Now he had a 7-year sentence. He still had like 3 years to do, but he was a little homie. So I got a 10-month violation. When he does this, I got a month left. That's when I find out when I have a month left. So she stopped taking his calls, but she had told me, right? So I played like I didn't even know what was going on. And let's just say when I came home, I took it upon myself to expose him to the cat that he was in the cell with because he did him like that. I was real close to his cellie. His cellie was from my neighborhood also, and he was like real young, but he was DP for it. But that's the manipulation. That's the tactics. That's the prison games, the penitentiary games people play. They try to manipulate anything they can up out of you, up out of any situation. When someone's doing bad in prison, all penitentiary rules don't go into effect. They break the rules, and that's what's going on with these youngsters these days. There is no morals, there is no integrity, even in prison. Now, this was a level 3 yard when I was there, and for him to do that, he got DP'd for it. But to me, if you could pull my bra from me, my chick, if you could pull the girl from me, so be it. But if you gotta dirty Mac somebody, to try to get your girl, to try to get someone's girl, that's out of the question. You don't supposed to salt no one up. You don't supposed to dirty knack no one to pull a bra. That's out of pocket. And I seen I seen someone from Harlem 30s uh, stab someone to death over him getting at his wife in New Folsom. And dude was actually his cellie at one time. Went through his phone book, got his address, and when he went to another pen, started writing old boy's wife. Check this out. This is another story. It just reminded me of something. I was in New Folsom. I had a cellie from San Diego, West Coast Crip. His name was, we're gonna call him Tone Loc. Tone Loc was my cellie. We moved in the cell together, coming off the bus. I came from Solano Ho. He came from Solano Ho. We moved in the cell together. Everyone there told me he was a J cat. Tone didn't like to come out the cell for showers. He came out for showers, but nothing else. We're on lockdown for a year when I'm there. The Southsiders took off on the Bloods. No, the Southsiders took off on the Hoovers and the Bay Cats while the Crips and Bloods were on lockdown. So we're on lockdown a whole year. We're going to the little yard every other day. Tone don't like to come to the yard. So I have a little homie come from another prison that knew Tone, and me and Tone got in a fist fight in the cell one night over him not plugging his TV in. We got in a fist fight over him watching his TV without his headphones, hella loud. And he was just, we was in the bedrock cells. If you guys know what the bedrock cells, the majority of the cells in New Folsom are like little apartments. They're humongous. But the bedrock cells, the beds are next to each other on the floor, and there's a big walkway between them. So it's about 4 feet between you, but the bunks are next to each other. They're not bunk beds on top of each other. It's the worst cells you could be in. Anyways, we had a curtain going down the middle to give each other privacy, right? What's going on? How come I can't? It froze. Oh my goodness. Y'all gotta bear with me 1 minute. Y'all still with me? All right, so let me finish this. Okay, so I'm in New Folsom. My cellie's name is Tone Loc from San Diego, West Coast 30s. Me and him getting into a fight in the cell. Now, once you get in a fight with your cellie, one of y'all got to move. You can't live in the cell. That's just the rules once you get in a fight with somebody in the cell. So I get in a fight with Tone Loc. His people and my people tell us we got to separate, which that's what usually happens. So Tone ends up moving out the cell. No, I take that back. I moved out the cell 2 cells down with Big Sea Dog from 60s. Now I'm only 2 cells down from Tone. My little homeboy that just got there, he moves in with Tone Loc. I'm there a year, almost 2 years, and they put me up for transfer. I get up, I go to transfer. My little homie looks at my photo albums. He gets a couple photos out. We trade some photos, and I go on my way. 6, 8 months go by, and I get a letter in the mail from another cat that was in New Folsom with us. He tells me there's some naked pictures of my wife going around the prison. The first thing I thought was my little homie that that I showed my photo album to took my hidden pictures in the back of a picture out of my photo album. That wasn't the case though. Did the investigation. I found out later that Tone went back there, took the pictures out of my photo album. Not only that, he wrote my mom's address down and wrote my mother a letter talking about his Nubian queen that I gave him the address. He used to be my celly. And I'm gonna tell you something. When somebody that you lived with or even didn't live with writes one of your family members and disrespects them like that, it's automatic DP from your car. It don't matter what we everyone has open communication from prison to prison in California. If I do something to Folsom, Quentin's going to hear about it within a day or two. If I do something in Calipat, Lancaster's going to know it within a day or two. There is no hiding in prison no more. What's going on? I think my computer is getting hot. This is my second video of the day. Let's see what's going on. As you can see, the laptop is getting hot. It's our second video. It's been on for 3 hours straight, and I don't have a bridge underneath it, so it's getting hot. But like I said, anybody that does that crosses, there's a thin line where you can get killed in prison. Dude ended up getting DP'd. He's no longer from his neighborhood. And that's just a couple things. This is part one. I got a whole list of manipulation and penitentiary games in my book. And this is part one. I'm going to keep it under 30 minutes. Look forward to part two. We're coming out tomorrow. I see you, Big E. I'm going to hit you in a little while, big bruh. And I want you to go back, E. Check out 12 Rounds of Adrenaline. We had a debate. Me and Tony had a debate on his channel about that fight Saturday against the Rolly fight. So go check that out. I don't agree with his opinion. Go check that out on 12 Rounds of Adrenaline. You already haven't hit that like button, and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for part two of Penitentiary Games. If y'all ain't told the people you love them, tell them you love them, and stay blessed.